Yeah, I think what you're talking about is like if you can identify the right product and get that product market fit, that's one thing you do see in e-commerce that you don't see in software and a couple other categories, but you can get that rocket ship growth. I had the William Painter guy in my office the other day, and like they grew that company incredibly fast. William Painter? They're sunglasses. They built them off of YouTube ads.
Cool.
Yeah. So something like that is exciting. I think it's, for me personally, it's a little outside my wheelhouse because I think you need to have the right idea, and be thinking about product a lot. I think for me, what I see is like the quickest way to grow a company is through M&A, and it's, and so for me, looking into next year, it's going to be about mergers and acquisitions. Like what deals, partnerships, mergers, acquisitions can we make to grow? And I would say both companies we've talked about today, to grow AutoAnything and to grow Postpilot. And so, I definitely have my my M&A hat on now as the CEO here, and it's probably like 80 to 90% of what I focused on, and I'm just really bullish on it. So it's exciting to me what is possible next year by focusing on mergers and acquisitions.
When you think about that, do you think that there's more value in keeping the brand that you acquire separate or having it be under AutoAnything or Postpilot? The reason I ask is I feel like some of these brands have such powerful niche audiences. And the idea is, they do so well that to those audiences that to have it be under that brand is going to help. But then I see M&A, or I see an acquisition that happens with the smaller e-commerce company. I've seen 2 this year I've been really close to, and they have kept that brand separate. And I think it's actually ended up hurting the bigger brand because the smaller brand is actually like more innovative and crushing it. And the parent company is slower to react and things like that. I don't know. How do you think about that? Or
are you talking about merging brands or operating teams?
I'm talking about if you acquire a company, like if you're acquiring a company.
Let's say at AutoAnything, I think we've got a customer acquisition challenge. And so there are a number of content companies, for example, that don't have that, right? That if I were to acquire, merge, figure out a partnership deal with a content company in the space that in many ways could solve some customer acquisition issues. That's something I probably wouldn't rebrand that, you wouldn't want to rebrand the content company just because you'd want to keep it. Casper bought one of the mattress review sites, right? They're going to keep that as a separate entity, and they're not going to call it Casper Mattress Reviews. So, so that's kind of how I'm thinking about on the acquisition side. We've also got, drop shipping challenges where it would be nice to acquire product companies, right? That instead of selling products at 30% gross margin, you sell it's 70% gross margin. So in certain categories, we're looking at acquiring product companies. And I think the DNA of those companies is so different from the DNA of our company. Our company is about sales, marketing, drop shipping. You buy a company, it's about a product company. It's about product innovation, sourcing, that I probably would just keep it as a separate operating team. And you get synergies on like the marketing and the finance side. So that's kind of, I think the way I'm thinking about mergers and acquisitions is not buying other retailers really as much as some complementary things that solve some of our growth issues. Realistically, for the average person, buying a company is better than starting something because you can buy something with revenue and customers. You can pay yourself, for a number of reasons. Like you've already got product market fit. It's usually better to buy something than to build it. And then probably what Shaquille has done is like, okay, then it's it's easier than you think to buy several and to not use your own money. So that's the other wrinkle that it sounds like he's figured out. But it's a great skill set if you can engineer deals with without a lot of your own capital in those.
Well,
deals.
I think a couple things that are really interesting about that. One, there's a guy named Nathan Barry. He's a CEO of ConvertKit up in Boise, and really interesting guy. He's also kind of a prolific content creator, and he posted something fairly recently. I think it was on Reddit or on Twitter. I'm not sure exactly where it was. It was about 8 things he's learned about wealth creation. And one of those things was he talked about the evolution of growing a business, right? And what you need to learn. And, initially it was, you need to break time from money. That's the first thing you need to learn. Like if you can disassociate the amount of time you put in, the amount of money you make, that's the first step. And then he went through the evolution of like, okay, well, a natural next step with that is running some sort of an agency. If you're running an agency, you are, that's the next step off of just being like a freelancer. Then it's moving to productized services, and then going from productized services up to products. And a product's a lot more scalable, but there's also a lot of challenges that come with running product businesses versus an agency. An agency, a lot of the stuff that you are doing, since it's soft skills, you don't have to have the product perfect. You can kind of get by with people working their hardest and that sort of working their best and having good intentions. And as you move up that chain, right, you continually have to learn all the lessons from whatever is below you. So to have a successful product business, you need to know that you need to understand the same challenges that an agency has understood. And when I look at bootstrapping versus raising capital or acquiring companies, I feel like bootstrapping on that spectrum, bootstrapping allows you to start a company and learn things without a lot of risk, because you can't like fire yourself into the ground that hard if you don't have that much capital. And when you see these crazy failures that we've seen a lot recently, the WeWork example, or many others, when you have that much capital, you can throttle yourself into the ground really, really in a spectacular fashion. But if you've gone through the bootstrapping process and built a business before, you're going to have a little bit more experience, and it makes a lot more sense to like buy a business or raise capital once you have that experience, because you're not as concerned about making really, really dumb decisions with a lot of money behind you. And also it's like, why spend so much time bootstrapping when you know what needs to be done and you have a good feeling and you can accelerate that process of creating wealth?